This book has changed how I look at my finances for good. Tori Dunlap is the founder of Her First 100K, a multi-millionaire, and the author of this book, The Financial Feminist. She dispels the myths we're told about money as women and shows us how to create a financial game plan and a path to wealth. In this video, I'm going to share some of my favorite learnings and exercises from this book and how I've put them into action in my life. Chapter 1. Emotions about money. Tori starts by talking about the emotions of money because it's the mindset you have and the stories you tell yourself that determine the actions that you can take. Top 5 most common money beliefs that hold women back are: talking about money is impolite. Hint, it's not. Talking about money is how you learn about things like interest or high yield savings accounts or debt and how to actually go about managing your money. Whereas not talking about money is how the systems keep you trapped in a cycle and in debt. You'll be rich if you just work hard. So you can improve your situation if you work hard, but this core statement misses out one of the key determinant factors of whether you'll be wealthy, and that is your privilege or your situation. So how you've grown up, who you've met, where you lived, all of these factors are big components of your wealth. So you cannot compare your situation versus someone that was born into a lot more privilege than you. Number 4. Wanting money is selfish. So in general, women are taught to be more caring, nurturing, and self-sacrificing than men, which means they're more inclined to give up that money to help others. And number 5, money can't buy you happiness. Now, there has been a study done on this where they showed up to a certain point, the relationship between money and happiness is a direct straight line. The more money someone earned, the happier they were, because it meant they could meet their needs and get a certain amount of extra wants on top of that. However, at a certain point, this starts to flatten out and more money doesn't give you the same increase in happiness. But that's usually after about £75,000 annual earnings. So this is completely not true if you're living in poverty or debt and you don't even know where your next meal can come from. A little bit of money is definitely going to give you a lot more happiness in those sorts of circumstances. For me, the money beliefs that really resonated with me is you'll be rich if you work hard, wanting money is selfish, and talking about money is impolite. These are big reasons why I didn't ask for a pay rise in a previous job. I felt awkward and rude about asking for this additional money. I just put my head down and thought that I would get that increase if I worked harder and delivered more for the company. And chapter 2 is all about spending, and women hold the majority of the spending power. Just look at the number of commercials on TV that target women versus the number of commercials that target men. Now, the exercise that Tori talks about in this chapter is to write a money diary. So if you can keep a money diary of all your spending for about a month, you'll have a very good idea of where your money's going, what you like and what you don't. So to do this, you need to write down how much you spent, what you spent it on, and how you felt about that purchase. This will really help you understand where your money is going and then redirect your spending towards the things that really make you happy. Now, I have to acknowledge here that there is a big gap between the financial education for women and men. Women are taught how to minimize their spending and save more, whereas men are taught how to increase their earnings. And whilst there is a limit to the amount of money that you can save, the amount of money that you can earn is endless. And it's about time we start talking to women about how they can increase their incomes as well. More on this later. So chapter 3 is about setting up your financial game plan. And this underpins every single financial move that you make. Priority number 1 is your emergency fund. This means if you lose your income or have an emergency, you have a pillow or a safety net that you can use. Number 2 is your pension contribution. So check if you've got an employer match, which is essentially free money for you, and then make sure you're contributing into your pension. Around 5% is a great number to aim for. Number 3 is paying off high interest debt. So anything that is over 7%, you want to be paying this off as soon as you can. And number 4 is investing for future goals and later life, as well as paying off any lower interest rate debt. And then number 5 is saving for all the other big life stuff. Now, something that I love that Tori talks about is the 3-bucket budget. So bucket number 1 is for your bare necessities. This is everything that is essential in your life. So things like your rent, your bills, your food, this all comes under the bare necessities bucket. So bucket number 2 are for your financial goals. So everything we just talked about, your emergency fund, your pension, your savings goals, and your investments, they all come under this bucket. And then bucket number 3 is the treat yourself bucket, where you put in money to spend towards eating out, going for drinks, entertainment, holidays, anything fun like that. Now, a good starting place is 50, 20, 30. So 50% in bare necessities, 20 in future you, and 30 in your fun bucket. But it does depend on your personal circumstance. Even if you are quite stretched for money, try to put in 5% of your income into the financial goals bucket, as this will set you up really, really well for your future. So even if you start with a low amount, try and increase it from there to try to get to around 20% in that financial goals bucket. Chapter 4 is all about debt, and I get it. Debt is hard. It can be really difficult to dig your way out of debt, but you can. Most people get into debt because they don't understand how it works. Either they don't pay off their credit cards in full, or they don't understand compound interest. But if you start learning about this, you can create a plan to pay off your debts. So start by listing out any debt that you have, how much you owe, and what the interest rate is. Then we're going to use something called the avalanche method, where you take the debt with the highest interest rate and pay this one off first, and then gradually move your way down the list. Figure out how much you can afford to pay off each month using the bucket budget in the previous chapter. But Tori also lists out some really useful examples in her book, so be sure to check these out too. Now, chapter 5 is all about investing, and this is how you can grow your wealth. Now, Tori talks about the myths and the misconceptions around investing, but the bottom line is you need to be investing. This is the only way you can get enough money to be able to retire. Now, I talked about this in a previous video where you essentially need 25 times your annual expenses saved up to be able to retire. So for me, this is £750,000 that I need in an account. And the only way that I'll be able to reach this is by investing my money. So investing is a two-step process. The first part is opening the account and transferring the money in. And then the second part is picking which stocks, shares, or funds you want to actually invest that money in. And I've got a whole other video on how to do just that. Now, here are the 3 factors that Tori considers when choosing an investment. 1, the performance, so you're looking for a graph that tracks upwards. 2, the fees, try and make sure these are as low as possible. And 3, the companies, so make sure you've got a broad range of companies in different industries and regions. Chapter number 6 is all about capitalism, and like most of us, Tori worked in the corporate world for a number of years before she jumped into her business full-time. She talks about the hustle culture, which promotes burnout and exhaustion and measures someone's worth based on their work. And it can seep from your work life into all other aspects of your life. So learning to set boundaries in my work life has been one of the most empowering things that I have done that has leveled up my quality of life overall. So the key takeaway that I got from this chapter is to not stick it out in bad situations. Apply to other companies, ask to be paid your worth, and above all, trust your gut. And in the final chapter, Tori is talking about the financial feminist lifestyle. So one of the things that I love is she introduces the concept of the money date. So this is where you take an hour or two to sit down, light a candle, you run through your spending, your financial goals, your debt payoff plan, and your future ambitions. Doing this monthly will enable you to figure out what you truly want. And one of the biggest things that Tori talks about in this chapter is sharing financial information with others. So if you have enjoyed this video, please share it with your family or friends or anyone else that you think might need it. And keep talking about finance and passing this information on. I've included an affiliate link to Tori's book, Financial Feminist, in the description box below, but you'll also be able to find it at your local library or bookshop too. If you want to learn more about how to invest and grow your wealth, then check out this video I have made around the investing 2-step process that I've linked